Hello everyone, so today we're gonna be covering one-handers in my new one-handed guide, as you can see here. So, pretty much we're gonna be covering some weapons, mainly the mace, rapier, the axe, and also the sword and the shield. Now, of course, there are way more one-handed weapons out there. I'm not gonna be covering them all. There are like some really good ones, like the hatchet, etc. I'm not gonna cover those, because I feel like the axe kinda does that. So we're gonna be like only focusing on the main ones, and all the like variations of them. You can kinda just change a few things and they should still work with the base weapon, as to say. And I also want to point out, even if you're a two-handed main Chad, you might as well just learn one-handers, because ultimately you're gonna get disarmed and you're gonna have to use a one-handed anyway. I know some people are very like, oh, I'm the two-handed guy, right? I never switch to one-handed. One-handers are lame and cringe and blah 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 blah. Yes, we know, very cool for you. But pretty much you're gonna get disarmed at some point, so you might as well learn it, you idiot. So first we're gonna start off with the mainstay of all the one-handers. In my opinion, the most reliable one, and the one with the biggest like counter window, and it's a very strong pick. It's the mace. So when we talk about the mace, we talk about hit stop. Now you might ask, what is hit stop? Well, you smash someone and it does not follow through. That's pretty much it. Unlike an axe, where the swing would go through the opponent, and you could combo it into something else, the mace does not do that. It just stops and you can kinda just do another attack. And that's the strong part about the mace, and especially the one-hander. Now, for the mace we have a few stats. We have slash 40, stab 35, overhead 40, and a special of 56. So, pretty much it's an extremely strong weapon, but you have to understand that it also has bonus damage against knights and men-at-arms, so it actually does way more than you think. So as we can see by the stats, pretty much we can be very comfortable in either slash, stab or overhead. Even stab does a lot compared to like other blunt weapons, so making this kind of an insane all-around weapon. Now, for the special. Well, the special is not that great on a mace. It's kinda slow compared to like the hatchet, so it's actually quite hard to hit. It's still okay, but I would rather advise people not to like use it too much, because it's just about readable. So, and if it's just about readable, people can just dodge out of the way. So I would not use too many mace specials, if I were you. So now for a little trick that I want to give you guys. So there's this little trick we can do against two-handers with the mace. Pretty much we want to like create a little bit of space. We want the opponent to come to us. We're gonna stab the right side of his face. Once we do that, we almost always hit before they do, because we have space in between and we come in with a stab. And after that we jab to the left side of him. Now, oftentimes people will be caught off guard by this. The jab will hit and we will pretty much have initiative back in the fight. This is a really good trick to pretty much like gain a little bit of edge against two-handers. Now I also am gonna give you guys a trick for fighting one-handers. So now for some like one-handed. If you're fighting any one-hander, you pretty much always want to focus on doing slashes with the mace. You don't want to focus overheads, because if you're fighting a one-hander v one-hander fight and you're doing overheads with the mace, you're actually creating opportunities for the enemy to like attack you very easily. So you really want to focus only on slashes and sometimes a stab. So let's go on to our next guest. It's the rapier. So this is pretty much the bane of all two-handed Chads, and the scourge that keeps on giving, the evil that has besieged Chivalry too. Yes, it's the rapier. So now let's look at the stats. Surprisingly, this weapon has hit stop. So it doesn't have hit stop on the stabs, but it does have hit stop on the slashes and the overheads. So what this means is you can quickly interrupt an attack from like a battle axe or other two-handed weapons. Since the rapier is so much faster than a two-hander, it becomes very frustrating for the two-handed person to deal with it, but it definitely has some big drawbacks as well. For example, the overhead does not follow through all the way down, and it's kinda just doesn't go all the way to the feet. It stops halfway. Also, the slashes are kinda tiny, making it actually very hard to grab counters with the rapier. So the counter window is very small compared to like any two-handed weapon. So we have to play with this and pretty much realize, hey, we can't go into a counter fight when playing this weapon. We have to fight differently. We have to kind of work with it and play to our advantages. So how do we play that? Well, we pretty much just use dodging and spacing as much as we can and the threat of us attacking, so neutral. So pretty much we're just gonna always threaten our enemies with, hey, I can do a stab faster than you, and you have to react to it. So that's pretty much just the thing with rapier. You can really threaten how you're gonna attack. Now, we are not just gonna rely on, hey, I can't stab. No, we're actually gonna be using like little technique. So, for example, we have the regular stab, we have the alt stab, and we have the stab to stab. So we can use these three, we can alternate them, and we can just use them in different ways. Or just throw them out at different intervals to like kind of throw your opponent off. Like, you're so quick, they have to position themselves to catch something like that. So if you just like alternate between these three at random, it's gonna be very difficult for your opponent to like be very defensive against it. Now keep in mind, we already have these three stabs, but we also still have our jab, our slash and our overhead, right? So these are also things you can put in, but I would really prioritize trying to get the damage from the stab because it does so much on the rapier. So you kind of want to just switch between the three stab styles and just try and land hits with that and just alternate them so your opponent doesn't know what to do. Now, we haven't even talked about the insane special this weapon has. It's an absolute beast, but I think most people are kind of using it wrong. The special actually has like parts to it. So if you jump before you special, you will actually do a different animation compared to when you just don't jump from like a standing position. So if you jump, it will do the special forwards rather than backwards. Now, people kind of jump forwards to their opponent when doing this special, but there's something better you can do. You can just jump and wait for your opponent to do something, and then hit him with the special. That's kinda a lot safer to use it, rather than, oh, I'm going forward, I'm gonna do a special, because that's kinda noticeable, right? So if you jump forward, they know, hey, he's gonna do the special, I can now kinda attack. But if you just jump, and then you just let yourself go slowly down, and then react to what your opponent is doing, if he's like charging up attack, you can maybe do a quick special to like catch him, and usually people don't suspect that. But now let's talk about the defensive part of this special. So if we just stand and we do a special, we will actually go back and we will stab, right? So what this is perfect for is, so if someone jabs you at the exact right moment, they just miss and you will instantly deal damage to them, like a lot. Now the problem is, timing this is very hard. And I don't recommend trying to actually do it. I would recommend using it in a different way. I would use this special as a way to create space. So imagine we're getting pressured, right? So someone wants to drain your stamina, they really want to come after you. Well, pretty much you just do this special and they're stunned, and you can go backwards or dodge backwards, and you've just created space. You got out of like a very high pressure situation just by throwing some stamina away, but you do have this range now, right? So he can't come instantly to you and pressure you again. The pressure is gone. You can just regen pretty much slowly. So as you can kind of tell, rapier is kind of really OP, and yeah, there's no doubt about it, but there is definitely counterplay to it from what I've noticed, so it's not like it beats everything. It does not. It just gets defeated by a lot of pressure and just stamina drain and a lot of different stuff. So I kind of know how to attack rapier, so it's not really that bad, but it's just a weapon that you kind of have to use against the OP two-handed weapons right now. And yeah, that's kind of the meta, if I'm gonna be honest. Now, onward to the axe. This is one of my... I quite like the axe, it's very fun. Pretty much, this is like the opposite reason why I would use the mace, right? So, this thing doesn't have hit stop. It does not. It follows through, right? So you can really combo pretty good with this. And you can definitely put pressure. It's also a bit quicker than the mace. And it does a lot of damage. If you look at the stats here, it actually does a good amount of slash and overhead damage, and the special is also very strong. So the stab is very bad on the axe, so I would recommend just not prioritizing it. Try not to do it as much. Now the main thing we want to focus is with the axe is comboing. So pretty much you get an attack off, they block it maybe, and we want to like pressure with another attack or quickly like change if they're quicker than us, but we want to just put pressure, right? So the goal of this weapon is to put pressure on the enemy, and that's kind of what you do with it. It does a lot of damage, and you can do some extremely good specials with it because it's a little bit quicker than the mace and it has a big window. It's very good. So try and just focus on those things and just use it for the reasons you wouldn't use a mace. Like, you want to combo with this. That's my main point. So the best way I would describe it is orc go zug zug, right? So just go freaking brainless mode and put pressure. Now the sword. Oh, I love the sword, but sadly it's only really a counter weapon, so it's good, but it's not that good. Okay, so yeah, the main weapons you're gonna be using this against is gonna be the guitars, the maul, like the hatchet. Like, this is kinda like a counter pick weapon, and you can kinda just use this to outstat other weapons. And usually you can pick a knight with just a sword, right? So you're also gonna have the health. So it's going to be really strong for those matchups. Now, as we look at the stats, pretty much the stab is very good. The overhead is also pretty good. Everything is pretty okay. And the special is, well, it's hard to hit, but it does have its moments, and it can be very useful. I've seen it, I've used it. But I would say it's harder to hit than, for example, the axe special. Now, we also have to talk about shields. So, these are a big part of like the one-handed playstyle, mainly because having a shield negates stamina, making it achievable to deal with some of the big chunky stamina eaters. I'm looking at you, Heavy Mace. I'm not gonna go too much detail about exactly how every shield is better, but the main thing is people need to get good with shields. Now pretty much how you do that is don't use that to start, take it out of your backpack mid-fight. I kinda use it as a reserve for when, you know, like, hey, you're dropping stamina, you need some more stamina, take out the shield. That's pretty much how you do it. And don't let it break, right? Like, you might be in a pressure fight, but if you notice your shield start to break, make distance, throw the shield at your opponents, don't throw the shield at your opponent, it doesn't matter, right? Just get rid of that thing or put it back on your backpack. Just don't let it break, because hey, when it breaks, the enemy is gonna deal damage to you. Now, also one thing about the shields is it actually gives you more jab damage. So with the buckler it's like 20 I think, with like the regular shield it's like 15. Not really sure about the heavy mace, or then not the heavy mace, the heavy shield, but either way, just like it's a little bit of extra damage, and a little bit of extra damage always helps, so just keep that in mind. So now for a recap with all this huge amount of info I just dumped on you. Alright, so mace, very strong, good all around damage, decently big counter window, great hit stop, use it a lot. Alright. So for rapier, use it against mainly battle axe and heavy mace. Mix up your attacks and use special for distance. So axe is pretty much zug zug rush enemy, very easy, and just do combos. Sword, only use it for counter picks. Katars, like the hatchet, the maul, pretty much any big weapon should be pretty good. Well, that's it for today, folks. This was mainly made for people who wanna kinda improve in like one-handers, or are kinda confused about, hey, why am I losing to this? What should I do against that? And it's just some extra info that you might have not thought about. That's kind of why I made it. And hopefully it's a bit of a catch-up for people who've been a bit out of the loop, right? So you come back to this game, hey, why am I dying like all the time? This is kind of for that. This is also for people who kind of want to like get back into like, how do you say it? Like the competitive Chivalry 2 thing. So hopefully this will kind of be a little bit of a catch-up on information that, you know, you kind of have to figure out as you play. So yeah. So if you want to, if you like this video, you learned something, just like and subscribe. It helps a little bit. You know, just growing my small little YouTube channel and stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.